I was coming back. Welcome back to What She Says Sports, everybody. I am back. I am back. I am back. Okay. I did not believe that I was going live again. So give me about a few seconds just because there was some late information that came in regarding players possibly playing or not playing. So just give me a second. Give me a second. Okay. First and foremost, them kids behind Jimmy Haslam on the field was not his grandkids. Went back and looked at the story. Somebody on the internet said it, or somebody said it and ran with it. Jimmy Haslam's grandkids and his brother, the former governor of Tennessee's grandkids, all blind. That's not his grandkids. That was some type of something he had going on, and that was like a photo opportunity. Maybe some kids of some people that work for him. That's not his grandkids. Understand that. So with that being said, the game itself that's coming up, people are starting to realize that Shedeur is being set up. They realize that, right? They believe it's likely he'll be set up. They're not sure for 100%, but they're anticipating that he'll be set up. And the talking points that are coming out with people like I think Nick Wright saying that Shedeur, if he plays bad against the Raiders, that he'll never play for another NFL team ever again. That's what you call wishful thinking. And let me tell you why. Did the fans just not boycott the Browns over this fiasco with Dylan Gabriel and holding back Shedeur? Is the locker room already not divided with people like Jerry Jeudy upset because he's trying to get 1,000-yard season again like he had last year, but they want to play around with Stefanski's man crush, Dylan Gabriel, instead of putting in Shedeur? People pointed out on some analysis videos that the Ravens helped by protecting Dylan, but there's one video where they actually tried to hurt Shedeur. If you saw it, they hit him like in the neck area, and he bent and he hit the ground, and that could have took him out. And that's the plan this week. And every week that he plays, like Cam Newton said, it's going to be the same every single week. Why is that? Because the owners took him off the board, and they still trying to CYA cover your butt. And people like Nick Wright are paid journalists to push the narratives of the NFL. If Dylan has played how many games and failed, why would Shedeur be blackballed after one game from playing for any team in the league? That's called an agenda, ladies and gentlemen. This young man has an agenda against him that's so tall, he gonna need Jesus to get over it. Because why? Right? I already had to try to fight off the defense for the Ravens who took it easy on Dylan, but tried to hurt me physically. My own O-line was suspect, and people refused to call them out. My own O-line man on the right side chose to face the stands instead of protecting me. And on multiple occasions, in addition to letting him get teed off on, the same people set me up individually on their one-on-ones. They intentionally lost blue coverage those matches. Now, everybody is seeing these things, but they're calling out the Ravens defense or the defensive coordinator. They're calling out, some people calling out the Browns wide receivers and saying the balls were catchable, but they chose not to catch them. Some people are refusing to see the intentional blown coverages by the O-line, saying, oh, it was a miss right there. Or, oh, they're incompetent. If they're incompetent, why haven't they been replaced? This is why I said Shedeur shouldn't play for the Browns, because it's just going to be one fiasco after another. But that's without remembering that all things are possible through Christ. And why would I say that? Because they didn't want to draft Shedeur. He was going to be an undrafted free agent. Is he? No, he QB1. And they don't want that. And you know what they don't want? They damn sure don't want him being QB1 going into Tom Brady's house. who rejected Shedeur, even though Tom Brady was Shedeur's mentor. Understand that. They don't want that at all, because that brings back the conversation about what happened in the draft, where Shedeur, who's a first round talent, was locked out of the first round, so he could not be drafted and become a QB1. And what did they do in Cleveland? They intentionally did not give him first team reps with the offense so he could build chemistry with the O-line and with the receivers. So it's easy to go into that first game and say the catchable balls were accidentally dropped, or the O-lineman just made a mistake, or they're not good. It was easy to say that. But can you say that this week after working out with the ones? Maybe you can. Why? Because of who's playing. Tommy Rees came out and said Shedeur is going to be playing with the guys that he came in with: Quinshon Judkins, Dylan Sampson, Harold Fannin Jr. Jerry Jeudy didn't come in with Shedeur. Jerry Judy's not a rookie. And Shedeur has never thrown to Jerry Jeudy outside of this week. So their best wide receiver one will likely not be the go-to guy and be impactful like he was with Shedeur in the last game. If you watched the game of the highlights, you saw Jerry Jeudy do everything possible to get a first down. And this week, he sounds like he's not going to be the go-to guy. That's the way they're painting the picture. They're going to go with the lesser experienced guys. Can I say that they're resting their starters? Not till let's see who take the field. But that seems like dressing it up nicely, as that's who Shedeur is comfortable with. The third and fourth team he's been playing with, or the second and third team, because there technically are no fourth stringers around, just a few. And then let's talk about what came out from Daniel Oyefuse not too long ago. Oh, I just saw it. Daniel said there is no status report on Myles Garrett or Njoku, but it seems like Myles Garrett will be out with an illness, and it seems like Njoku will be out with a knee. And then he says they're good to go. So it's contradictory. I'm like, Daniel, what the hell are you doing? I'm like, we out here hyping you up. Don't start this foolishness. So we don't know if they're playing or not. But I want you to understand something. In addition to Shedeur Sanders knowing who Jerry Jeudy is from Colorado, when the Broncos came out, and Jerry Jeudy speaking out positively about Shedeur Sanders, saying he's ready, wanting to play with him so he can hit his incentives in his contract and get his money. But now Shedeur's going to play with who he came in with, and Jerry Jeudy's upset. And they want to take that frustration with all of the musical chairs with the quarterbacks, with Stefanski holding back Shedeur, when they could have started with Shedeur, and Jerry Jeudy would be probably on the other side of halfway to 1,100 yards. He's at 356 or somewhere close. And they want to put Dylan back out there, putting out a statement today saying Dylan was practicing, and that has since changed, that he's not going to be playing. So they put things out there. They're contradictory. Don't know what the hell they're talking about. Then they're telling you Dylan coming, and later on in the hours, he not. So either the right hand don't know what the left hand are doing, or they infighting, or they intentionally not putting out information that is valuable, designed to confuse you. Now, we all know Shedeur can climb hurdles. We know he can overcome a bad O-line, because he did in this game. The whole O-line wasn't bad. But can he overcome the leader of the O-line, making him seem difficult? Because that's what happened. Batonio felt like he was telling a joke, but there were a lot of people who saw that so-called joke online and said, you got to watch him. And I'm like, facts. Talking about, he told Shedeur when he come out or whatever, don't raise the noise level. And Shedeur did like this so people could cheer. And he was like, yeah, I told him not to do it, and he did it, and laughed it out. I'm like, it's so Bill Callahan, who got fired. Because why? He was making fun, doing the same thing with Cam Ward, telling people, see, they speak in dog whistle. This person's difficult. We don't like this person. And he's the leader of the O-line. The same O-line on the right side that was letting the Ravens tee off on Shedeur but they blocked like Fort Knox for Dylan. That's one hurdle. Then it's the hurdle of, will the balls catchable or not? Shedeur knows who he really going to be playing with. Can he trust them to catch the balls or not? That's another hurdle. He never had to worry about people intentionally dropping his balls, dropping his passes, dropping his passes at Colorado. I'm going to keep it pushing. And he never had to worry about drop passes at Colorado intentionally, right? So that's another hurdle. Then I got to deal with the Raiders. Just like the Ravens tried to injure me, it's just me this time. They have 4 whole quarters to tee off on me, hit me upside my head, push me down, fall on my legs. That's another hurdle. That's 3. Then there's the referee who saw the hit on Shedeur and said nothing. That's the 4th hurdle. I ain't saying he can't do it. I'm just sad that it's like this. Because we just really want to see this young man ball out. But his own organization is taking him down. And instead of talking about that, people like Nick Wright and others are saying he only has 1 shot to get it right. First of all, that's false. Because there's that disparity again that Dylan had all the opportunities to fail, and they want to go back to him failing. Dylan has proven he's not QB1. Shedeur has proven that he is. But he proved it multiple times before, and they didn't care. So what is it going to take for these people to care? It's going to take the fans who are leaning forward with now the general public, because this game has they say playoff type energy. I say Super Bowl. It's going to be one of the most watched games of the weekend, probably rival that of the Eagles, who went to the Super Bowl recently, won it, in the Cowboys. This game is at 1 o'clock. People going to watch this game. People not just watching to see Shedeur ball out. People are looking to see if the Browns are going to set Shedeur up again internally. So it's not just about football. Fans recognize, oh, y'all just don't want to play with him. So you willing to hurt him, hold him back, make it difficult for him, have the refs not call for him, collab with the other team, collude with the other team to get him hurt. As long as it takes him out of the game and Dylan can come back. That's disgusting. And then there's the robbery. What was the point of that? Understand something, that today, beyond the shadow of a doubt, looking at new angle of the footage with the suspects outside the house, listening to the 911 call. I do have it. We'll listen to the 911 call. It was an inside job. They called someone. Before that, they walked up to the house in the dark. They had already known how to come in through the woods, and they knew to exit through the woods with what they stole. They didn't take Shedeur's jewelry, but it seemed like that was on the list. Now, some people could say it's because they saw a video with his jewelry. We don't need a video to see Shedeur's jewelry at his house. We know he got jewelry, and we know he got a house. And understand this. If I was sent to get his jewelry, right, I didn't get nothing else except for some bags and something to give girls or sell, or some Nike t-shirts that's probably going to pop up in Cleveland, and people going to be like, you know what? Where you get that from? So they were hired. Now, some people, and this speaks to the damaged reputation of the Browns by way of Stefanski and his horrendous mistreatment of Shedeur Sanders. People truly believe the Browns had something to do with this. And now that you could see that they were calling someone, they were looking at devices that somebody had taken a picture of the photo that they were supposed to kick in. They were hired by someone. And initial police reports are incorrect. They did not walk in through a locked door. They kicked it in. They kicked it twice, which meant they had to disrupt the door jam. And I don't understand how the police didn't know that. Did they not look? It is reported that Shedeur had a house manager. I don't know if the house manager is he was at the game or at the house. But what we do know is that they called somebody, they used a signal jammer to try to disrupt the alarm, which is on Wi-Fi. And how did they know that? And it didn't work because when they kicked that door open, you heard the Wi-Fi. They knew they were on camera, so they came well prepared. Woohoo! Was the camera letting them know? That's when they were supposed to run off. They were not deterred. Then they made that phone call to get the all clear, and they got it. And they kicked the door twice, and they got in. And they weren't worried about the cops coming because they were there for 12 minutes when the average home robbery time, the lower end is 3, the highest is 12. They were in no hurry. They got the all clear, and they didn't think the police would come. Why is that? How did you know to bring a signal jammer that the alarm was on Wi-Fi? Who told you that? The media, the news, the local news pointed out that Shedeur's house manager waited about an hour and 20 minutes to call the police, 911. I don't know why you would call 911 if they're gone. That's for when they're there. And I said, I'm not so worried about that because they probably didn't want it to get out. It's embarrassing. And they waited for Shedeur to be off because when the police when people were interviewing people in the house, I heard them talking to Shedeur. So he was telling them about his day when he left and whatnot. So I'm not shocked that they didn't want it to get out because I did a search. I asked Google, how many Cleveland Browns football players have been robbed? And I didn't put a date on it. It just said, there's just one, Shedeur Sanders. I'm like, that can't be. That can't be. So maybe they didn't report the others, but it's crazy it's not listed. Go look it up. So he was targeted. And they cased the place of somebody who's familiar with the house, and the layout told them to park down the street, come through the woods, come to this door, send them a picture of the door, bring a signal jammer because you could take it off, the alarm off, because the alarm's going to go off. And they thought they did. And the signal jammer was the last thing. They made the call first to confirm. Ready? All clear? Yep. They pointed to the guy with the signal jammer, which is just super, super bright lights. Something criminals typically don't do because I don't want to be seen. Mind you, it's not midnight. It's 6:46. Once the signal jammer did this thing, they kicked the door in twice. They kicked the door twice, then it opened, and you heard the alarm go off. They did not run. They were inside for 12 whole minutes. They felt no consequence. They didn't think the police would show up. They didn't think the neighbors would hear the alarm unless they went inside, knew where it was, and cut it. But they sure knew a lot. And then the part I don't like, you're going to hear, I didn't particularly care for the 911 call that was made. And I can't tell you who made it. But they said they came in through a sliding door. And I showed y'all. Well, I didn't show y'all. But on the members only live stream, I showed y'all the most viewed parts of Bucky's video when Shedeur was going through the Nike clothes. And I said, why would people look at the most images of Bucky, video images of Bucky, video images of Florida that lives with Shedeur? Well, I think he does anyway, but he's like his trainer. But that's his driver too. And then video images of Shedeur talking on the phone to Jordan Seaton. And in that same video, we could see that there's a sliding door in Shedeur's room. And I said, why would they kick in that door when they could have just broke this glass and came in? And why did the police say they came through an unlocked door? And why did the person who made the 911 call say they came through a sliding door when they kicked the door in? A simple investigation or look at the cameras. So does the house manager not have access to the cameras? That he don't know that they kicked the door in? Did the police not look? They just trusted whatever somebody said? I don't like that. And you know what I don't like? And I don't care who feelings hurt. And I don't know who's who. I don't like the fact that whoever called 911 said, yeah, they possibly took a chain I don't like that. All of the Shedeur had in that closet. Why would you think they would take his chain? They didn't take his shoes. Did they not take that AK in the corner? They didn't take, I don't know, they took his sunglasses. They ramsacked his room. They cleaned out the contents of his nightstand. Why they do that? They went looking through his pillowcases. What were they looking for? Possibly took a chain. I'm Shedeur's house manager, right? I live with Shedeur, right? Or I'm there all the time. I didn't see no lock on Shedeur's bedroom door. Shedeur got a big ass safe sitting right in there that you can see. If you know Shedeur that well, that you his house manager, you know the chain's not left out. So why would you say that? And why would you say that they came in through a sliding door when they kicked the bitch in? You didn't walk around the house and look to see all the entry points. You didn't look at, you don't have access to the cameras to see. Y'all didn't look at, you waited an hour and a half to call. You didn't look at the cameras first or get the camera footage. Let's say you wanted to wait to the game to end, ask Shedeur what to do. Nobody looked at the cameras first before they called 911. Instead, they came through a sliding door instead of admitting that they kicked the door in. And why is that? Because there's footage of the three people calling somebody to get the all clear. And while they were in the house, you could see them being a little jumpy, as if they were being lured in the house and somebody was going to jump out on them. They were bolder outside the house than they were inside the house. And if all they got is some bags, because they came in empty-handed, but when they got to his hallway, you could see the designer bags in his hand. And I don't know what other bags they got, but sunglasses and bags and some t-shirts from Nike and some cellophane. You did all of this trying to unjam a goddamn signal, calling up your help or whoever hired you, because you the help, for some sunglasses, some bags, and some t-shirts. Understand this, all high-end bags have serial numbers. You can't do nothing with that. Because if you give it to somebody that don't live like Shedeur, they're going to stand out like a sore thumb. And Cleveland is this big. And he in the outskirts. He in the suburbs. And they're like, nah, this wasn't no YNs, because ain't no YNs driving way out there for that. The town he's in is this big. If Cleveland is this big, it's smaller than that. 5,000 people. That's it. That means everybody know everybody. They know Shedeur lived there, this, that, and the other. If I want to go rob Shedeur on my own and I found his house, I would have never had to look at my phone to see if this was the right house, because it wasn't the part of the house that had the address. It was a side door that is nondescript, that somebody would have had to take a photo, send it, and say, right here, come through the woods, come up the tree line. You're going to see a door. They looked at their phones. Understand this. Looking at your phone dictates that you have a phone. Walking up to the door before you kick it in, before you try to jam the signal, you make a phone call. I don't care if you listen to a voicemail. Somebody called you and left you a message. Let's talk about what could blow this case wide open. That people who think they're smart enough to bring a signal jammer are clearly not tech savvy enough to know how to not get caught. Check this out. Welcome, everybody. Hit the like button, hit the like button, hit the like button. All right. So, here we go right here. I want you to listen to this lawyer talk to you about something called a geofence. A geofence warrant. Geofence is technology that can locate, identify, and track all devices with an area. So like Amazon uses geofence to track their drivers without their drivers knowing. I can track any cell phone devices, any iPads or whatever. I can track anything that got a SIM card, an eSIM, a phone number, or any electronic device within a specific area in a specific time frame. Everybody. not just the people I'm looking for, everybody. So if somebody was in the house but hidden in another part and chose not to come out, they knew what time it was. And their cell phone is in that house. Or maybe they left the house and went somewhere else and came back. I know who's in the house. They called somebody before to get the all clear. They already confirmed it was the location. So if I confirm it's the location with the picture you gave me, I'm calling you to get the all clear. Now, who the hell would know who's in Shedeur's house? Why Shedeur is playing football in the second half when Shedeur didn't know he was playing football in the second half. Now put them two together. I could have robbed him when he was at the Patriots game in New England. I could have robbed him and would have when he was in New York for the Jets game. But I waited until he was in town. I waited until he played his first NFL game. And I took all the time in the world and called somebody to get the all clear. I didn't put in no codes. I took a step back, walked up to the door, and kicked it. And before they did that, they all put their hoods up. Or if they had a hood, they put it up. They weren't worried about the cameras. They weren't worried. They thought they had the alarm lit. And when they didn't, they still took 12 minutes to go through the house. And what they did was personal because they tore up his room. They took his nightstand contents. Why would I do that? All that stuff to do a have in that closet. And honestly, when you look at the Well-Off Media video, YouTube has a graph where you can see the most watched parts of the video. It was on Florida's face. It was on Osake's face twice. It was when Shedeur was talking to Jordan Seaton. It was when they were outside dancing and you could see into the house through the door, through the garage. You could see the license plate on the Cullinan or whatever car that looks like the Cullinan. You could see that there's an alarm, so I knew not to park on the driveway. But I had to know I can walk along the woods. So somebody had to look into that for me. Somebody that know or that went out there to case it and check it out. And that could be when they took a picture of the door and then gave it to them because they double checked it. They weren't the ones that cased the place. Because I would have never pulled out my phone to check. And if it's just us, I'm not calling nobody for the all clear. I'm here now. I'm committed. But I did. I called somebody for some type of confirmation before we turn that signal jammer on and kick that door, not once but twice. So there are a lot of things here that make you go, to be honest, right? And for the police to say, put out a report that says they walked through a door, so you didn't check the entry points on the house to see if any of the door jambs were broken and the door was kicked in. Y'all didn't look at the cameras. Y'all knew he had a camera system before you put out the report. It's either incompetent or a cover up. You decide. All right, so let's listen to this lawyer talk about a geofence and what should be beneficial in helping Shedeur find out who those three guys were and who they were working for or who sent them.
So what is a geofence warrant? Well, a geofence search looks at all persons using their cell phones in a specific map location at a specific time. It doesn't just look for persons of interest, it captures everybody. Now, this information generally comes from cell phones reporting to the tech company where their person is using GPS or pings, things like that. And then it's reported to the tech company. Most commonly, it's Google. So how does a geofence warrant work? Well, a A judge is given a warrant, and the judge looks at it and decides whether or not it has everything that's required to be a valid warrant. If the judge agrees, then the warrant is issued, and this geofence search happens. A common example of it is the FBI used geofencing for the January 6, 2021 events at Capitol Hill. So they said, hey, look, here's our geography. This is the area we're interested in, and here's the time frame, and this is the time frame we're interested in. And then they looked at every single person there, and then they plucked out the people that they thought should be prosecuted. So things are getting to be a little bit different now. On December 12, 2023, Google made an announcement about some changes. What it's going to do is change the user's location history data. According to the Google release, it says that location history information will be transitioned from storage in a centralized database to being encrypted and saved on the individual user's devices. Then the company announced users will be given the option of backing up this data to personal cloud-based storage where the information would not be accessible by Google. Also, Google will be reducing the default for the automatic deletion of location history from 18 months down to 3 months. So over time, this may eventually render the company unable to fulfill these geofence warrants, potentially a win for personal freedom and a loss for law enforcement.
So what does that tell you? It tells you Shedeur has a short window because they're changing it, right? Because this is how you catch criminals. The criminals that broke into Travis Kelce's house and that broke into Pat Mahomes' house, they were part of a Chilean ring of thieves. They were busted by the feds using cell phone data. And understand, geofence warrants is just one part of technology. So when they pulled out their phone to look on their phone, and I don't care what kind of phone it is, when they got their phone and made that phone call, I got the number of the phone you called. I can find out who the owner of that phone is, right? I can go through your text messages. I just got to get the phone. They can put your phone on a device and read every text messages. Look at every app to see if y'all were planning an alibi. Look at what y'all were talking about doing. How did y'all find this house? Who you been talking to, conversing with the most? Anybody that's already known to Shedeur, anybody that works for the Browns, or anybody else. That geofence technology is huge. And I hope Shedeur honestly hires a private detective to make sure that that warrant has already been issued. And if it has, it's not too much longer now. This is how people get busted because they don't know about this. When it was the pandemic, there was something called contact tracing, and that's another tool. Contact tracing, just like geofence technology, can be used to access and ping any device and identify the owners of every device in the area. They did that during the pandemic to see if people who were supposed to be quarantined were actually quarantined. And in Tennessee, they got arrested. There's a lot of technology out here that can start and work its way backwards. So if somebody was in the house or their phone was in the house or their phone in the house got a call, nobody's in here. I don't care where they were. It's going to be picked up. And if they say it's not, they can't get it, it never is an option discussed with Shedeur, then they don't want him to find out who those three were working for. It's a lot happening. And honestly, leading up to the events of what happened with Shedeur when they were at the Super Bowl and they talked to Roger Goodell, and you can hear Roger Goodell saying, I'm worried about your pops. And then he looks off. And Shedeur say, wait, what? Why are you worried about him? See, they lured them into the Super Bowl. Shedeur was at the celebrity event. Coach Prime was on the stage with Bill Belichick at the NFL Honors. They lured them in so they could be comfortable. I don't see it being any different than Haslam standing on the field at the Miami game that Bucky was invited to for the first time to film with people who I don't know said that was his grandkids, but they let the lie stand. They never corrected it. With 4 kids behind him, 2 wearing jerseys, and one of them looked like the jersey was bought that day because he got a shirt over his shoulder to make it seem like I'm Shedeur Sanders friendly photo op, but then I'm allowing Stefanski to set him up. That's no different than Roger Goodell laughing and talking with Shedeur and saying, I'm worried about your pops, and looks off, delivering the message, trying to make it seem like what happened in the draft wasn't us. And think about the phone call, the draft phone call, the prank. They lied. They said the phone call was made by the defensive coordinator's son. That is not what happened. The kid from Ole Miss is not the defensive coordinator's son from Atlanta. They lied on Atlanta, the Falcons, and they lied on that family. And they never came back to clear it up. And they got busted with technology. Let's see how long it takes to identify the cell phones, the people. Let's see how long it takes. Because with geofencing and contact tracing, it should be like that. Geofence warrants can be issued within 10 minutes of request from a judge. 10 minutes. The case definitely has cause because he was robbed. And if he's the only truly Cleveland Browns player to ever be robbed, because maybe they don't want to rob they players because they diehard fans, then what does that tell you if Shedeur is the only one? So I think they want people to think Shedeur should be side-eyeing people that are around him. The media made you think, and so did the police, that he was careless and left his door open. Somebody else that called 911, I don't know, somebody told them what to say, that they had a sliding door. It was none of that. And they know how they left with stuff that they can hold. They didn't pull up the trunk and put everything in it and walk back the way they came through the woods. You know why they didn't come the front way? Ring cams. But you do know some people have cameras on their backyards when the woods is behind their property line. So let's see. Let's see how interested they are in using the technology that they use to catch the people who robbed Pat Mahomes and who robbed Travis Kelce, because they were quick to say, oh, yeah, that's what happened. That's the trend. They did the same thing with the prank call. Oh, yeah, Abdul Carter was pranked, not by these people, not with inside information, just like the thieves. I know for a fact these 3 are not Chilean, locked up by the feds. So it's not the same people, but they're trying to slide in on the trend. And they ain't robbed nobody else. Just Shedeur. And I don't know why anybody would think, with all of that stuff Shedeur has, that they would get his necklace when he got a safe that looks like a damn refrigerator. Let's take a look at what was said. And all of this happening before this game, where they trying to stack the deck against him, it should have put him in a mind frame of trust no one. Trust no one. All right, so I think this is it. So y'all can listen to the 911 call. Let me make sure you can see my screen. All right, here we go.
Looks like they got into the slider door. Either they pushed it open or it was unlocked.
Now, that ain't true. They had cameras. They kicked the door in. Nobody walked around the house to see. Now, they might have went out the slider door, but you didn't check the perimeter of the house to see that they had kicked in that door. You didn't check the cameras before you called 911. You waited an hour and a half before you called 911. You told the police, don't tell nobody. And I get that part. You didn't want him to be embarrassed or for them to come back, whatever. But you mean to tell me you waited an hour and a half, you didn't check the cameras, you didn't check the perimeter, and you made an assumption that the door was just open, and that wasn't even the damn door. That's sloppy. And I don't care who feelings hurt.
Medina County Sheriff's deputies called to the home of Browns quarterback Shedeur Sanders.
Sunday night, his manager called 911, thieves broke into the house as Sanders played in his first NFL game.
And investigators say the thieves stole about $200,000 worth of valuables.
Game days are different.
Yeah, because we played at 4:30 today, so we got done later.
You ever had anybody breaking in the past? No. Where'd they come from? Is that the backyard? Came
That's
out
a
of the
great
woods
cam
there?
over there to the right.
A report just released describes what security video recorded. 3 people walked out from a tree line in the backyard. They used lights on cell phones to get around the house. They ransacked the place. Then they took off through the backyard.
According to the 911 call, deputies were not called to the home right after the crime was discovered. Shedeur's manager said he called about an hour to an hour and a half after they discovered someone broke into the home. A report also shows the manager for Sanders asked if deputies could keep the incident from getting out to the media.
But Sanders this week spoke openly about what happened.
Yeah, mentally, emotionally, I'm in a great place overall. In life, it's always going to be adversity. Things aren't always going to go, as planned. But I would say, I'm prepared for everything.
The recordings just released shed new light on how thieves got into the home of Shedeur Sanders and what they got away with in minutes.
Several designer bags, some sunglasses, and possibly a jewelry, possibly a necklace.
In Medina, Peggy Gallick.
I don't know. Again, all that stuff is to do a closet, and that's what you think they left with? Possibly. Maybe that person don't live there, and they came over. Maybe they got an alert on their phone, or when Shedeur finished the game, he got an alert on their phone, and then they went over there. But how do you not know somebody kicked in the door? I don't know if you wait to call the police, why you don't check the cameras, because everybody know they got cameras. You can hear the alarm going off. You can hear the camera chirp letting the thieves know you're on camera. They didn't care. And they called somebody before they kicked that door in. Before they used the signal jammer, they thinking they're turning the alarm off, and it didn't work. And they didn't care. And it took 12 whole minutes. This young man, because he's not a kid no more, because going through all of this stuff will grow you up real fast. He's already mature for his age, right? But to be dealing with an employer that doesn't value you and is trying its best to let you know that and demean you and hold you back, and they already robbed you of $40 million, and you still out here doing good for the community, they act like they don't see it. This robbery was not discussed by sports media. I think NFL and CBS, whatever, the only one outside of these small podcasters. But all of the people talking about Shedeur being blackballed, if he messes up in this game, that this is it for him in the NFL overall, after Dylan has been failure after failure after failure, and a favor to a friend, Dylan was never qualified for this job. Shedeur already won the QB1. I got news for those people. Y'all about to go to war with about 6 million fans. And fans that already boycotted. So you would think you know how to act right. But they're going to learn. They're going to learn. Let them try to blackball this kid and watch what happens. And people already think the Browns had something to do with this. And they may have not. But their reputation is tarnished because people think that they did. Because of the horrible way they've been mistreated Shedeur. The abusive way they've been mistreated Shedeur. Playing keep away with QB1 when he's the best, despite the fact that the team is losing and he could help them win. And when they're forced to draft him, they mistreat him. When they're forced to let him play, he gets robbed. When they're forced for him to start, they seem to be already stacking the deck and telling you what the consequences are because they don't expect it to work out. Vegas already says they're going to lose the game. Both teams are 2-8. Shedeur has brought the most excitement to this team. Fans have said that. The Browns fans have actually given him the grade of a B overall. There's so much potential because of the last drive where he had got comfortable. Because why? Every time he overcame his O-line, when he did something good, they did something bad. And then when he did something good again, the passes weren't catchable. So he keep having to overcome his own team. So he going to Vegas to play the Raiders, but first he has to defeat who? The Browns. And then deal with who set me up at my house. That's why he let them know. I'm not worried about that. They ain't get my jewelry though. That's a lot. That's a lot on a person. And understand, and Joku was one of the first people to gravitate towards Shedeur, and so was Myles Garrett. And according to Daniel Oyefuse, he might not be. I can't tell if they playing or not because of how he said it. I'm like, okay, y'all just don't want to make things clear. That's fine. Whatever. We just gonna see at the game. So don't go into this game believing that everything is on the up and up. Be excited for Shedeur's opportunity. Pray that he can overcome the obstacles that his own organization has put up before him. I hope he hires a private detective to actually get to the truth and not what they want him to believe about his home robbery. I hope he has moved to another location. Some people said he has. I don't know that for sure. I hope that that's true. Change of scenery will be good. Change maybe some other things. Who you allow to come around you, even if they're your coworkers. Because if they got receivers dropping catchable passes and old linemen teeing off, letting him be teed off on, that means his own teammates working against him, in addition to his coach, in addition to the owner who said, he was my pick. So the owner is showing up with those kids that are not his grandkids, and they let that lie stand. That was just a photo op. So he wouldn't catch the heat. But Stefanski did. That's what it is. So Shedeur's going into Brady's house. Don't know if Myles Garrett and Joku are playing because there's no status, but then again, they might be out. Supposedly Myles Garrett got sick, but again, I don't know. I hate that because they're very impactful players. Shedeur can trust them. Judy, I think Shedeur feels like he can trust Judy. All of those people are being moved out the way. That's what has been discussed. Let's see what happens. Just like they said, Dylan went back to practice. Somehow that has already changed. So I'm checking the comments to see what y'all are saying because y'all might have some information to add to the conversation. It's going to be an awesome football weekend. Let's go Buffs. And it's the Shedeur Sanders Sunday. Facts. Everybody want to see Shedeur ball out. This is a highly anticipated game. I do believe he can overcome. It's just a lot more to overcome than he had to overcome before. But Shedeur has a sleeve, and I think that's going to be his saving grace. He just got to know who to trust. And with his house being broken into, he might have some ideas about that. What's up? What's up? What's up? About time. Hey, how you doing? Hit the like button. Hit the like button. I'm so glad you came back. It says, since you've been late for work, I just got off of a podcast. I don't know what we're talking about. How long did we go on the members podcast? 3 hours? I've been talking for 3 hours. And now I've been talking for another 30 minutes or whatever. Give me some grace. Cut me some slack. Thank you. It said, replace the O-line with who? Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question. That's a good question. They got some backups. They got Cornelius Lucas might be playing. I think Conklin might be out. He was one of the people that faced the stands. Cornelius Lucas might be playing to replace him. And I don't know who else on the O-line. They don't have a lot of depth. What's up, chat? Hey, Turney, welcome back. Hey, Isaiah, how you doing? How you doing? It said, look out. This is messy. Yes, it is. It said, why was Dylan throwing balls to practice team today? Because they wanted to bring him back. But Daniel Oyefuse said, let me see what he said, that has somehow changed. I'm like, what are y'all doing over there? Let me see, because I had something that he said. Let me get back to it. And I'll share it with you. Let's see. He had the injury list. It said 8 hours. GM Andrew Berry. The defensive line. Oh, this is new. The defensive line is the engine that drives our defensive scheme. And having waves of quality players along the front is a priority. Oh, so they re-signed one of their players. Well, that's nice. That's nice. Here it is right here. It said the Browns have ruled out Dylan Gabriel this despite him returning to practice today. Bailey Zapp will back up Shedeur Sanders in his first start. Jack Conklin is questionable. Jamari Thrash, his foot is out. Jamari Thrash is already behind somebody, I think, that might be injured. So that gives way to a third stringer. And Alex Wright, the quad, that's the defensive guy they just signed, I think. He out. So if Myles Garrett out, one of their best defenders is out, and Joku's out, Jerry Judy's limited. I don't know who the hell she's gonna be playing with other than Quashawn Junkins, but he's the running back. But is it gonna be him or Dylan Sampson? So we just gonna have to watch and see. And we cheering Shedeur on. And I'm just praying he can overcome, because it's a lot. It's a lot that they have done to try to make sure that he doesn't look good, so they can stick by the talking points of, if he doesn't play well, this is his only chance and he'll never play in the league again. I'm like, and your ass gonna get sued. That's what you're gonna get. Your ass gonna be sued, because that's ridiculous. Dylan has failed. So now he over there with the practice squad, and they probably gonna keep him over there with some kind of lie and bring Bailey Zapp behind Shedeur and take Shedeur out the game at some point, if not the next game, and put Bailey Zapp out there. When they said they were bringing Dylan back to practice, there must have been some kind of conversation. So they had to pivot away from bringing Dylan back and making Bailey Zapp the QB2, because there is no chance with Dylan. So we just gonna have to see, right? We just gonna have to see. And Bailey Zapp has played for Cleveland before, so I feel like they think he must be an asset that they could use. So we shall see. Guys. It said no game status for Myles Garrett, who is dealing with an illness, or David Njoku knee, both good to go versus the Raiders. Again, no game status, but they're good to go. So I don't know. I don't know. We just gonna see. So there's a lot of excitement around Shedeur going to Tom Brady's house, with posts saying that Shedeur doesn't forget about how many times, was it 8 times? Seven times that the Raiders passed on him. 7 times. They asked Pete Carroll about him today, who's the head coach of the Raiders. Of course, he had nice things to say. What else was he going to say, right? Shedeur is somebody who likes the pressure. He's actually quoted as saying that. I think he's unbothered by what happens, and I do believe that he knows who to try to overcome. I think he'd have figured out who to trust. Him having a sleeve is God's grace for him, because he can call audibles with people he trusts. And that's what he did last week. He actually overcame being set up by his own O-line. Even though they kept trying, that's when he started running in first downs himself, right? Now, the Raiders are looking at all this. They know what time it is. They know what's going on. And if Shedeur's going to be out there with the 2s and the 3s and a lot of rookies, and then defense is going to be depleted because Myles Garrett and Alex Wright and some other people, the people that matter, maybe Carson Swessinger doesn't play as much because they're the person that he's bringing up. He's their next up behind Myles Garrett. Sounds like it's going to be the Raiders potentially versus Shedeur and some backups. That's what it's giving. We're going to see, though. We're going to see. We're just going to see. Hopefully, it's a fair game. I took a poll and I asked the question. I said, is the game going to be a fair game that Shedeur plays in? Let me tell you what they said. Let's see what they said. I think I checked on it. I asked the question today. So let's see how many people we have. Here it is right here. Okay, so I said, is it going to be a fair game? Let me put this on the screen so y'all can see for yourself what people said. How many people took the poll? 91 people took the poll. This is good. I'm going to share this. This is good. It's a mixed bag. Let's check it out. I wanted to know what people thought. And I started off by saying, while we hope that Shedeur balls out, plays well, and the game is fair, I just really want to know what you're thinking. This is how you take people's temperature. Because just because you have a thought doesn't mean people agree with the thought. Just like I did another poll asking, since it's Thanksgiving week we're coming up on, is it which one are you choosing? Pumpkin pie or sweet potato pie? Drop your selections in the chat if you like, and I'll read them. Okay, so let's take a look at this so y'all can see this mixed bag of what people really think. Is this it? Yep, this is it. Okay. All right. All right. On the screen. I'm gonna leave it here so y'all can see it. Gotta take Shedeur and Tom Brady down. Tom Shady. Gotta take Tom Shady down. Of course, Shedeur gonna be nice to Tom Shady. He not gonna say nothing. He not gonna let on. Shedeur was raised to forgive and keep it pushing and let God deal with the rest. And that's just what it is, right? And I personally feel like Tom Brady got his karma beforehand, because if you don't know, his wife ended up pregnant for her Pilates instructor or something crazy like that. So I think that's all the karma one person can handle, and it lasts a lifetime. Because it would that be his step kid? Because the kids he had with her are siblings of the other new kid, the new baby. So that means that's his step kid. Is that how that works? Let me know. Okay, so as you can see on the screen, so Shedeur ain't worried about Tom Brady. As you can see right here, it points out that while we hope the Browns versus the Raiders game is a fair game planned for Shedeur Sanders and for fans to enjoy, meaning no sabotage this time. Tell us what you believe. Fair game, no sabotage, 40%. Sabotage, set up to fail, 60%. So it's split. So it's a mixed bag. But people believe that. I told you that's what people think. I told you I go through people's comments. I like they post when I'm over there. But I read all kind of comments across all platforms. And honestly, this is how people feel. And this is tragic for the Browns because they have trashed their own reputation. They already were boycotted by their own fans in person. This not going to want, after this game, they set this kid up. People not going to want season tickets next year. They don't want their fans to care about Shedeur. That's why they call us Shedeurians. But their fans care about Shedeur because they gave him a letter grade of B. That's huge. That's huge. So that's that one. And let's see. I think there's another one. The one that I did where I asked y'all about the pumpkin and the sweet potato pie. Okay, I'm just going to ask y'all that one. And see. And I'll just report on that later. I think by large, 99% of the people selected sweet potato. I'm pretty sure that's what it was. All right, let me get back over here to these comments. All right. It said the baddest show on the planet. Thank you. I appreciate it. Roger say sweet potato. Agreed. Sweet potato. Yep. Okay. I don't know another poll I'm gonna do right now. I'm gonna do a poll right now. Sweet potato. Okay, same thing. Everybody's saying sweet potato. The hate is too much. Shedeur Sanders and don't believe it's going to be a fair game. Yeah, I don't think so either. It said, I'm so sick of these people selling out Shedeur that a black saying it's a do or die game for Shedeur. Facts. Totally agreed. Facts. They got a run game. Yep, they do have a run game. Department of FBI that investigates professional sports call for Shedeur at any sign of sabotage. It's called the CCSG. Oh, I'll put that on the screen. That's good. So y'all can Google the division and call up. Quishan and Dylan are both good backs. Don't sleep on them. Okay, we'll take your word for it. So they probably gonna use the run game a lot. I hope that's what happens. The entire NFL plantation is working against him. This does a lot. Shedeur is him. It's ridiculous. It is. And if he end up somewhere in Canada, because he's sick of the BS, I'm going with him. And so about 6 million other people. It said, Pete said, I ain't got no time to deal with rookies. Yes, he did. And you know what? They could have had Shedeur as a backup over there, or they could have drafted Shedeur, but they went and got Zeno Smith, so they didn't have to draft Shedeur as a quarterback. So they could say, oh, we don't need a quarterback. And they drafted Ashton Genty, who's ready to go, because he's only gotten 7 carries or something ridiculous like that. Yep. I thought Jerry Jeudy was straight to go. I think he is, but the plan supposedly is for Shedeur to play with people that he came in with, that he practiced with in the spring, and that's not Jerry Jeudy. Just like Njoku may or may not be available. Myles Garrett may or may not be available. There's a pattern there. Did Shedeur get sacked in that North Carolina game? Yes, in the beginning. He overcame that too. That's a good point. So Shedeur overcame the Panthers game. He overcame the Ravens game. People are not holding that Ravens game against him. They're he actually played well. I swear, one of the most watched clips from that game is that last pass to Gage that was dropped. And this Gage is inexperienced. So it seems like Cleveland got the bright idea. Well, hey, let's just get the people Shedeur came in with, like Gage, and let him play with them because they're inexperienced against the Max Crosbys and the other players. I don't know who played for the Raiders. They know what they're doing. If they go with that Shedeur playing with the 2s and the 3s, because that's who he practiced with, they're trying to exploit the inexperience of the walk-on tight ends, of the tight ends that have only had 25 yards or that was on somebody else's practice squad that came over, of Gage, who's inexperienced, but he probably gonna get it right this time. He just got to fall on somewhere on his body like Travis. Go watch Travis film. Everybody was like, Travis and LeJohntay would have caught that. But I knew it was inexperience, right? I knew it. But now Shedeur gets the whole game to himself. He has a sleeve to call plays. They say they want the players that play with Shedeur to elevate their game. It's weirdness happening here with people being injured. So we just gonna go ahead and cheer him on and let God do what he do. We're gonna let God do what God does. Because ultimately that's where it rests, right? All right. So we're gonna be happy about it. We're gonna be live. We're gonna talk about the game. We're gonna watch the game the whole way through. And we just gonna be honest about what we see. But we pray that Shedeur can overcome everything they trying to throw at him. I thought Jerry Jeudy was straight to go. Yep. He was mad for a reason, though. Probably because they said Shedeur was going to be throwing with the people that he practiced with, and that ain't Jerry Jeudy. So, yeah, Shedeur actually overcame the to win in the North Carolina game. Remember that. He actually did. I told you, he got an ally over there. Shedeur went to somebody on the side, and I have no idea, it's curly head blind dude, and was sitting down talking to him and said, I want a deep ball. I'm not sure if Shedeur had a sleeve in the Carolina game. I'd have to go back and check. But Shedeur has a sleeve because I saw him when he was sitting on the side and LeJohntay came over. And I knew he was able to call some plays because why? I recognized the play to the end zone. I recognized the Hail Mary plays. I recognized that. And to be honest, the ball was caught, but inexperience was the reason the ball was stripped. Because Gage practices to catch and hold, but now you have to think, I got to tussle them off of me. See, you can't just let these defenders get on you because they're going to use every part of their body to strip the ball from you. You thinking all you got to do is hold on to the ball. You got to be a dog. You got to be like, get off me. You have to hold on to the ball and physically try to push them off of you while you are doing like this, holding on to the ball so they don't take it out or do like this. Because this is what they did. The ball was right here and they just did like this. Because he moved this hand to catch his foul on the ground while holding the ball and it got stripped. You can't do that. Go watch some Travis on the film. Go watch some LeJohntay film. LeJohntay caught a ball close to the ground and people knew it was a touchdown because he was smart enough to cusp his hands so there's no way that ball could touch the ground. That's elite. That's elite. Gage is cool, but he was a walk-on. Shedeur work with him, that's fine, but inexperience versus veterans. And I feel like that's why the Cleveland Browns came back with that foolishness that they trying to dress up like they doing something for Shedeur to let him play with people he came in with. Unless they don't trust Jerry Jeudy and some of the other people that had catchable passes and they let them go. But I know inexperience versus a veteran, you got to be a dog. So it's going to be exciting either way. It's going to be exciting either way. God, I just pray God's will be done. And I pray to God, Shedeur, overcome because I'm sick of these fools. I'm sick of all. He going to get blackballed. He never going to play for another team ever again. That's so preposterous. I'm like, you're going to have one hell of a damn fight on your hands. Just get ready. Just get ready. I don't trust this all of a sudden. It said, I got good stuff to say about Shedeur. Kevin Stefanski, he wouldn't even mention his name. Right. That's his problem. Yep. That's his problem. That's what it is. Things that make you go, right. It said, wait, so all of the ones are injured? Not everybody. Not here's what matters, right? The O-line matters. And Conklin was on the end. The right tackle, I think. He coming out. So Cornelius Lucas, it looked like he must be stepping up, or somebody that was behind him. Again, not the starter, not used to practicing with Shedeur. So if Shedeur is practicing with the ones and Cornelius Lucas is coming in all of a sudden, was Shedeur practicing with Cornelius Lucas to get the cadence right for the O-line? These are all valid questions. If somebody else gonna get stick at the last minute, and somebody Shedeur didn't practice with because they're not a one, gonna get called up to be a two, and Shedeur not used to them. Maybe they weren't here in the spring. Do you see what I'm saying? Don't be sad. That's not the point. We're informing you so you can go and enjoy the game. And if they set him up, you knew it wasn't a mistake. It's not a mistake to continuously let the O-line tee off on your quarterback after your quarterback throws multiple good plays. He's playing well, and they keep messing it up for him. That's what it is. That's what happened in the last game. But he overcame that. So he got to overcome the refs not calling plays when they're trying to hurt him. He got to make sure the O-line don't fall back on his leg. Anything. Because they get desperate. That's what people need to understand. They out here lying. Somebody actually posted on X. Shedeur Sanders came into the league with 0 fans. That could change Sunday. Excuse me? How was the rookie? What? He came into the league with 0 fans. But all they complained about was his celebrity. So which one is it? I told y'all, they going to make shit up. I told you that. I said it. Admit it. I said it. Oh, they going to make stuff up. They making stuff up. They just making stuff up. I think they put out those reports that if he don't plays well, that he'll never play for another NFL team in hopes that they think he watching they show. Because fans don't even believe it. And like, shut up. They ruining their own credibility to send messages to try to rattle Shedeur like when his house was robbed. So now how Dylan got over there with the practice squad, seemed like Stefanski was ready to get back to Dylan, and somebody said, not so fast, not so fast. Don't put Bailey's app out there. Let Dylan go on over there and practice with the practice people. That could be a sign that this game could maybe Shedeur could overcome because it won't be as bad because Stefanski didn't get his way with Dylan. That's interesting. That's the change I'm looking for. Oh, so once again, you thought you was going to do X and somebody came along from somewhere and was like, nah. Interesting. It's that things that make you go home. I totally agree. I thought it was a touchdown. A lot of people said, was it a touchdown or a turnover? It said Judy would be playing most reps of the game. I hope so. I want Jerry Judy to get 100 yards. All right, this is where we start asking for predictions. All right, so we ain't sad. We just know what we're looking for. That's it. We're gonna be out here cheering. We want this kid to win. We believe he can overcome. We already seen a slight bit of change to keep Dylan the hell away. Shedeur has earned QB1. We looking for him to win this game, but we're not gonna be shocked by no fugazi. Ain't nobody gonna have no nosebleed because they tripping. You'll be like, that's what she said. We was talking about that. And then we're gonna do something about it later on. But understand, I want to get the prediction, not the score, because I don't know what that's gonna be. I don't know anything about the Raiders. This is about Shedeur. How many touchdowns? How many yards? How many touchdowns? How many yards? What do y'all think? How many touchdowns? How many yards? I'm checking the comments to see what y'all think. How many touchdowns? How many yards? Let's see if I can put that on the screen just in case somebody need it. Let's see if I can get it on the screen right fast. How many touchdowns? How many yards? And I say yards passing. I'm not talking about if you want to grab rushing, that's fine too. But I'm just asking how many touchdowns, how many yards. And you can decide if you want to split it up or not. But I'm going with passing yards and touchdowns. How many TDs, Shedeur? He's having fun. So that's what I care about. I always look to see to make sure he's good. Yeah. But Coach Prime, I'm going to tell y'all something. He perturbed. And I think the whole Sanders family needs to show up. And one of the most interesting things that I said about that break-in was they had Bucky at the Miami game when passed how many yards? Hold on 1 second. PY is passing yards, okay? Shedeur, how many touchdowns, how many passing yards? And we know we're talking about the Raiders. I didn't put it on here, but I feel like y'all should know what we're talking about. Okay. Let's see. So there we go. On the screen. Shedeur, how many touchdowns, how many passing yards? Okay. One of the most interesting things that stands out to me that could connect the dots with the home break-in was that Haslam did that photo op with people who were not his grandkids, that people let you believe that lie. At the Miami Dolphins game, the first and only game, I do believe the first game that Bucky filmed. So there was a photo op happening while Bucky was filming his first game in Cleveland. I had already asked, how can Bucky film all these other teams, but not the Browns? That's not a good look. It's like they just trying to, hurt them, right? But then Bucky gets the nod to film when Haslam got this photo op happening with the kids standing behind him, with one of them jerseys look brand spanking new. And only 2 of the 4 had on the jerseys. And one kid don't even look like he knew he was at a football game. So it don't matter who they are. It matters, was that a photo op? And then why is it? We heard Bucky say, I should have been at that game. The game where Shedeur played, where Coach Prime said he knew Shedeur was going to play the Ravens game. The game where Bucky said, I should have been there. Was he not invited while his brother got robbed? In a game we didn't know he was going to play in, Coach Prime said he did. Bucky don't get invited to that game, or did he decline? Because if he wasn't invited and Shedeur gets robbed, and Bucky's not there to film Shedeur getting into the game, and Shedeur gets robbed, and the most watched parts of the video is looking at Bucky's face and Florida's face, and Shedeur in his bedroom where the slide door is. That's what's going to connect the dots. Why wasn't he there? Did they invite him? If not, that meant that was a photo op when he was there. So that maybe when things happen, I don't have no problem with Shedeur. Or then again, maybe that was a photo op to clean up the language, the reckless behavior, the reckless words of, he wasn't my pick. So when Shedeur in town, get a photo of Haslam with the 12, with the kids. So, he don't have no problem with Shedeur. Anyway, it can connect the dots. Keep that in mind. All right, so let me see what y'all saying. Let me see what y'all saying about predict the touchdowns, predict the passing yards. Pop's right-hand man and Shedeur right-hand man. Who is that? It said Bucky has 2 jobs. Yep, you facts on that one. It said no, Bucky has to be there with Pops. That's not true. Bucky was it. Why he gotta be there with? Bucky was in Dallas. He didn't go to Cleveland, but he was in Dallas. He wasn't even in Boulder. And Bucky don't have to be with Coach Prime. He got a girlfriend. 3 touchdowns, 2 rushing, 2 touchdowns, 3 touchdowns, 2 rushing, 2 touchdowns passing, 275 yards. You said 3 touchdowns, but you said 2 rushing and 2 passing. That's 4. So you saying 4 touchdowns with 275 yards? Okay, I'm gonna save it. It said the Browns will win and Shedeur will have 3 or 4 touchdowns and passing for 300 yards. Wow, that's a fair game if that happens. All the Sanders will show up and even Snow. I like it, and that's what I hope for too. I want to see Snow. I want to see little Snow, the whole family, the in-laws, everybody. Bucky Mama, I want to see everybody. Miss Pilar, everybody. Carucci, everybody. Hell, Miss Tracy, bring her too. Everybody. And I want the cameras to go right there to the Sanders family. They might be in a suite, but it's okay. And I definitely want Coach Prime there. I don't know. ASU gonna be a tough game. I hope if they lose, it don't stop him from going, because I think he should go. Because they think they could bully him, right? Show them that they can't. So, okay, that was a good one. It said 4 touchdowns, 280 yards. Wow. Okay, 280 yards. I think the Sanders will show up for Shedeur. I agree. I totally agree. 3 touchdowns, 400 yards. God has some angels. Absolutely. They have not been able to trap Shedeur the way they have wanted to since the draft started. Locked him out, pushed him down, wanted him to go undrafted, forced to take him. They was visibly upset. Keep trying to hold him back. No first team reps, but guess what? He's QB1. And his playing by himself. And when Stefanski thought Dylan was coming back to practice, it was supposed to add pressure to Shedeur. And somebody said, not so fast. He has an ally over there. Not sure who it is yet. Not sure who it is yet. But I'm happy to see it. It said, whoever Osakin, I'm sorry, boo. I don't know what that says. It said Shedeur will have 2 touchdowns, 250 yards, no picks, 70% passing. Ooh, that's good. The accuracy. Okay, I like it. 70% passing. Shedeur will have 2 touchdowns, 250 yards. I say 2 touchdowns, 250 yards. No, I say three touchdowns. I think Shedeur gonna have 3 touchdowns, 250, 51 yards. The accuracy, See, they tried to get him when they sacked him. They only kind of sacked him on third down, so drive would end. I didn't put too much in the stats because I saw the setup, so I wasn't worried about the stats. His accuracy, Shedeur was pretty hella accurate. Oh, and I don't know if y'all know, Shedeur worked out at night one day this week. He was out there grinding. Yep, he was out there grinding. While I think about the accuracy in the back of my mind, let me show y'all. Shedeur was out here working out at night. Dude ain't playing. Shedeur is not playing. Working out at night. He is not playing. Let me show that to y'all. Everybody's excited, though. I will tell you that. Everybody's excited. You know, it's going to be an exciting game. I still don't know who the quarterback is for the Raiders. Is it going to be Geno? Here it is right here. Let me show this to y'all. Shedeur was putting in work. All right, here we go. All right. So Shedeur putting in work at night. I'm assuming in Cleveland or the surrounding areas, not let anything get in the way. He is out here working on my screen. Okay, there we go. I don't know if y'all saw this. Some of y'all may have seen it. Some of y'all may have not. So I just shared it. All right. Hold on. Let me turn the music off. I should have known it was music. Here we go. Here's Shedeur at a school. Is that the Edwin Baldwin University? He used music from Meek Mill, who's in Philly. I said, don't be surprised if Shedeur get traded to Philly next. Don't forget Andrew Berry's twin brothers. That's Florida. That's his best friend from, or grew up with him like family, like a brother. Somebody said he's adopted by Coach Prime or something. I don't know. They said if you watched the show back in the day, you kind of knew, you know, that he was adopted by the Sanders family or something. He's always with Shedeur. This is Shedeur's trainer. This is Shedeur's driver. And I guess that's the cameraman. I don't know who that is, but looks like the cameraman. So it just looked like Shedeur's out here getting ready to run. That's him right there. So he out there working on his speed. You know why he working on his speed? Because he going to have to get some things himself. And he sees that. And he needs to be able to get away from the defenders. So he working out. That's pretty good. Florida seems like a good dude that Shedeur can trust, you know. Shedeur can trust this guy. And, you know, even after robbery, he trusted him, took him out. And with Miss Pilar in town, I think I always see Miss Pilar. And, you know, she always comes to the game. So I don't know if she's in town, if she lives there. I know she got space there. Hell, that could have been her coloring for all we know. But I think she drives the Tesla. So that's Shedeur working out at night, will not be deterred by nothing and nobody. That's why I say these people got a fight on their hands. This kid don't quit. He likes pressure. And even when the game looks like he's down, just like this Ravens game, he can come back. And if that pass was caught and held onto and, you know, long enough to be a touchdown, it'd be a different conversation because he would have come in when they were behind and tied up the game. And they didn't expect that. So we hoping for the unexpected. All right. All right. Let's see what we got. Roger said 24-17, Browns 3 touchdowns, 250 yards. Okay. All right. Let me save that. That we could come back to it tomorrow. Surprisingly, so many Browns fans are in Vegas. It's that they hate the hate for 12 is mostly online. The hate for 12 is nothing but them damn talking heads. I totally agree with you. Totally agree with you. And a little spackle of just miserable people. Some MAGA people understand that. Because they don't have on the hat, they intentionally not wearing the hat. It said, how many games has Pickett played this year? Who is the quarterback? Is it Pickett for the Raiders or is it Geno Smith, or are they not trying? They don't want us to know. This is a trade game. Geno gonna get released, and they're gonna get Shedeur. Interesting. Turner says this is a game to get rid of Geno Smith and trade Shedeur to Vegas for $4 million because his contract will follow him. What y'all think about that? Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your thoughts. I never thought about that one. That's some good insight there. That's a good proposition. That is. I love Snow. He know he famous. You know what? He does. He has figured it out. He has figured it out. Can you tell the way he moves? He loves the camera. I mean, he really knows now. You know, I always wondered, like, Beyonce's oldest, like, when did she realize that her mother is Beyonce? I don't know when that happens. But Snow might not know, you know, a whole lot. He don't talk yet, I don't think. But he know. You know why I think he know? Because he see them on TV. And then he's seeing himself on TV. So they're on TV doing things, you know, and now he's on TV. And I think that's what kind of plays a part into him knowing, you know, knowing that they famous. Even though he don't know what famous is, but he know he on TV or something. It'll be interesting when he start talking. Okay, so we have Bridget said 2 passing touchdowns, 1 rushing touchdown, 200 yards passing. Okay, let me read that again. 2 passing touchdowns, 1 rushing touchdown. Okay, so 3 touchdowns and 200 yards passing. Okay, I like that. I saved it. Okay, that's good. That's good. Thank you, Bridget. I like that. It says, Coach Prime did more for the NFL than a so-called chosen one. Thank you. And thank you. And nobody had to be cheated. It was earned, not given. I totally agree with that. It said, I love your opinion on these 3 shows. It said, what? I would love your opinion on these 3 shows. Buffed and Prime, the pregame network, or 0 to 60. They are all on very different and very opinionated strong. Well, Buffed and Prime, I thought, did analysis. That's all I know about them. I don't follow them. I think I showed their video that they did a collab with 0 to 60. That was my only time seeing 0 to 60. I want y'all to understand something. I don't watch these other channels. You know why? Because I have my own thoughts, opinions, and whatever, and I don't want to be tainted by what nobody else is saying. The most I'm going to do is find a few random channels and go let them talk, but go through the comments so I can see what people say and hit the like button and keep it pushing. That's it. Right? Because, I mean, as you can tell, like Jimmy said, it's just coming off the dome. These are my thoughts, right? And I have a different perspective, right? And a lot of them probably Buffed in Prime or 0 to 60, or what was the other one you said? The pregame show? They're not going to have these kind of conversations, right? I think Uncle Neely, who I know, you know, follow Coach Prime from Jackson State, he's close to the program. So I don't think he's going to take this type of position to talk about these types of things because they got a different agenda, right? I don't know 0 to 60 other than Chesney we just learned that I know he applied for the job at CU, but he's a booster. And I don't listen to their show. I just know that they have respect for Buffed and Prime to bring them on. Now, I know a lot of people don't like them. I do know that much. But I just know that they mostly analyze. And again, I don't think they would have the same type of commentary. They're more talking about the plays, looking at all 22 plays. A lot of people don't care why certain things are happening, or they care, but they're not going to talk about it. That's just not what they're willing to do. Like, they'll talk about Shedeur in the Ravens game, and they'll talk about what he did, but they won't talk about or hold accountable the O-line. Then there are people that have pointed out the O-line, but they didn't see nothing with the receivers, right? This is why, everybody got their own way of going about it. Me, anything pertaining to Shedeur that ain't right, I don't care what it is. I'm all about accountability. I'm all about that action. And I don't care who feelings hurt. Like I said, when I was saying I didn't like what was said on the 911 call, although I don't understand the context of it, I felt like some things was a little sloppy, and I don't care who that was. I really don't, because it's too much. Shedeur did everything right, and that's my point, right? You're entrusted. This man is entrusting you, and he did everything right. He got a nice house, a nice area. They had a nice alarm system. He had ring cams. He got a ring cam or some kind of ring cam at the door. He did everything right. He had a safe in his house. He locked, his stuff up. That's why it didn't get taken, or whatever you want to call it. He did everything right. He had a house manager, somebody that takes care of his house, because he can't be there all the time, right? And I understand the house manager may not have wanted to call right away because they wanted to talk to Shedeur first. What I do not understand, right, is how the police and the house manager, neither one knew that the side door had been kicked in, and he kicked it twice, so he disrupted the door jam. I don't, and I don't understand, unless the house manager don't have access to Shedeur's cameras, and maybe that's possible. I don't understand, with cameras footage on the internet, how the police could say the door was unlocked. Why would you assume that? I don't like that, because you're saying Shedeur was careless, or somebody in his camp left it open. That's what you're saying. Why would you assume the door was locked? And then when the video comes out, no, it wasn't locked. They kicked it in. How incompetent does it look for the police, who just dismissed it as, yeah, this should happen to Pat Mahomes. Okay, this not these people. And that's what happened in that's the draft, the prank call. That's what's making people look at the Browns in the NFL. I'm telling you. So hopefully Shedeur got some private detectives so he can get to the bottom of who they called, because they were sent by someone. They were hired to do this, and they did not think they would get caught. And the way the story was told, they likely wouldn't. But geofencing, contact tracing, and a private detective will get it done. You heard them say they were using their phones as camera flashes. So if I look in the range of the time he left his house to the time he got back to it, I should be able to track who was in his house. Every last person. So that's what it is. It's that. So that's the most I know, right? Everybody just got their own angles, and not a lot of people are going to go and just talk about, some people just speak on safe topics, I say, right? Just stick to the stats or stick to the game, but don't talk about the factors about why certain things are happening. Okay, we got another one. It said 3 touchdowns, 290 yards. That's if Kevin don't force the ball to Junkins in the red zone to steal Shedeur's touchdowns. That's interesting. Did that happen? That didn't happen in the Ravens game. I don't remember the red zone. They didn't score any touchdowns, but they damn sure did. And people didn't want Shedeur to throw that ball to Gage or to Isaiah Bond. Remember the long ball to Isaiah Bond? They didn't want that one, and then he went back for it again. That's Shedeur. If you watch him play at Colorado, Shedeur don't quit. Just because you don't catch this one don't mean I'm not going to get it down there. He's too accurate. So instead of throwing it to the same person twice, I'm going to Gage, who I know can catch that ball. And Tommy Reese said it. Gage has caught that ball multiple times. But I know Tommy Reese and Stefanski know what happened on that play. He did catch it. He got bullied by a veteran because he's a walk-on, inexperienced rookie. That's why. And that's why Shedeur supposed to be playing with people he came in with and practiced in the spring with to exploit their inexperience against the veterans. Hopefully, they some dogs. Hopefully. Because Gage gonna have to be a dog. You could tell that's not even his personality. It said Bucky and Pops go everywhere. Damn, they're together. He just don't post Prime always. Oh, okay. I don't know. And I can't debate that. So that's cool. I believe Bucky was taking care of Dad and he was monitoring something seriously. Bucky will be there before the girlfriend. What make y'all think something was wrong with Coach Prime? Because Bucky went to Dallas with the dude from Colorado. Why y'all think that? I don't know. What did I miss something? It said Cameron Silver Craig has been added to the roster to play. Yeah. We got some good news. Cameron Silver Craig has been added to the roster to play. 256 people. Please hit the like button. And if you want to get your Shedeurian merch, because we are Shedeurians, head over to whatshesaidsports.com and use my code NOLAGIRL, all caps together. At checkout, I just dropped some new beanies. I guess I took it off my head after the last show. If you're a member, go watch the members show. It's about almost 3 hours long. It's good. So Cameron Silver Craig will be playing on the 53-man roster. BJ Green been balling out. Cameron Silver Craig balling out. Too bad Travis is injured. See how things flip. Remember I said the way things are today, they may not be tomorrow. When the season started, Travis was out there. And then Cameron Silver Craig and BJ Green were on the practice squad. Travis got injured. BJ Green was already had come back. BJ Green got elevated to the roster. Travis was still out there, but underutilized. Travis gets injured. And now Cameron Silver Craig is elevated to the roster. You see, that's what I meant by things change. Things change. And you got to always look for the unexpected. Nobody knew Travis would be injured and out for 6 months. That's a long time. And nobody knew that BJ Green and Cameron Silver Craig would make the roster and play a lot this year. That's good. I'm happy for them. Now I can look at the Jaguars because with Travis injured, I wasn't watching. Shout out to LeJontay for coming over to check on QB1. That was good. It said defense can rattle Geno Smith early and give 12 short fields. They can get up early. Ooh, okay. I like that. It said, where was the dude with the braids? Huh? Where was the dude with the braids? Light-skinned guy? Who we talking about? Are you talking about Florida? Let me know who you talking about. It said Pops was in Dallas too. Okay, so he was in Dallas. Okay, I don't know. He said he should have been there. I don't think he would have said that if it was a problem. But again, I don't know. Not arguing the point at all. I just think it would connect the dots if we physically, if we actually knew. It says to do about 150-yard passing, maybe 2 touchdowns, because it will be picked your spot type of game and mostly running Quinshon Judkins. I can see that. So you saying they're gonna run Quinshon Judkins heavy, and they said the advantage to that is what? Because I heard somebody talk about it, I forgot what they said. I don't know, open up the passing game for Shedeur, I think is what they said. So that means that we'll see Shedeur do something we rarely have seen Shedeur do, play with a running back. Maybe the Texas Tech game, Shedeur had 500 yards. I think the running back had 45? And then there's like 3 different running backs that total just under 100 yards. I do believe maybe 60 yards, 70 yards. I already said Colorado ain't running 200 yards on the ground. That ain't happening. But they could do that with Quinshon Judkins, and then they wouldn't have to set up Shedeur. It's just that he would be minimized. But they know they can't make Shedeur a game manager like Dillon because the fans will revolt. See, the media want to overlook the fans. That's what they have always done. And the fans just didn't say anything until this year. And they didn't want the Browns fans to care about Shedeur, but they care about winning, so they care about Shedeur. And they know he can get it done. There are people saying this game is going to be epic. I think so too. So I'm excited. So hopefully Tommy Rees has planned it for Shedeur. I think he did last time. And Everybody elevate their gameplays, right? No more excuses. The owner of what is cool with Pops? Who we talking about? So I think that might be, is that an answer all my comments? I don't think I went through everything though. Instead, you said it always deflecting, no accountability. Yeah, they always deflecting like this. And they be setting it up before it happened. Think about Roger Goodell. I'm worried about your pops. That's premeditated. Then you got Haslam out here after he reckless with his words. I didn't pick Shedeur, but then at the Miami game, when Bucky is invited, there's a photo out with some people with 12 jerseys on, and they let the lie stand that's his grandkids. No, it's not. Everybody in his damn family is blind. Everybody. That's not his grandkids. And he's a billionaire, and they are not. That's not his grandkids. And one of them kids is black. On the end with the curly hair, black or Puerto Rican. They're not his grandkids. But it's funny how they let the lie stand. Interesting. Hey, how you doing, Turner? It said change of the guard is happening to hopefully change the entire culture there in Cleveland. And they don't want that. But, and I'm going to leave it on this note. What did Shedeur say? I mean, what did Daniel Oyefu say? That that Dylan was supposed to return to practice because that was Stefanski. But somebody changed that and had Dylan out there with the practice squad. Y'all say that. And I think that's what it said. Oh, and it said Bailey Zapp was elevated to QB2. So there's change in the house. Shedeur is QB1. Bailey Zapp is QB2. And Dylan, who was off of concussion protocol, is over there with the practice squad where he belongs. Now, that could be God making a quicker place straight. We're going to have to see. Are they going to yank Shedeur out the game and put in Bailey Zapp? I don't know, because the fans ain't having this, bro. They like, look here, we can win with him. That's why Jerry Jeudy was so upset. That's why he was so upset. He like, all we needed was reps. I only got 356 yards because y'all out here fawning over Dylan when Shedeur could have been out here getting me 100 yards a game. Shedeur could actually have 2 to 3 receivers at 100 yards a game, but they got Quinshon Judkins. So maybe 2 receivers at 100 yards a game. Because Quinshon Judkins don't get 100 yards every game. I don't know if y'all don't know that. They don't run him heavy like that. He don't get numbers like that. So it'll be interesting to see if he breaks 110. I'm going to go check his highest yards and have that ready for the game. All right, y'all, I'm going to get myself out of here. This was good. I'm glad I came back and updated because I wasn't going to. But some kept telling me to do it. And I don't know why I wasn't going to. Oh, I got a few more comments down here at the bottom. Let me check them out. It's Friday night. We just hanging. That was Andrew Barry's doing. Stefanski is out of favor. Good. It's that they said the kids were his brother's grandkids. I've seen his brothers and his grandkids. They all blind or dirty blind. Google it. Unless that was Haslam's kids. I think his wife might have black hair. Maybe, I don't know. But the kid on the end looked like he was black with curly hair or Puerto Rican. Why they don't look rich though? Because these people are billionaires, right? So the internet said that. I looked it up. It said that came from social media. I don't think that's that many kids. They didn't give billionaire at all. And honestly, they would have already had jerseys. And I don't think with their grandpa feeling like that about Shedeur, they would have wore those jerseys. And one of those jerseys was new. And they all would have had on a jersey. That's not his grandkids. Maybe that's somebody else's kids, but those are not his grandkids, and they let that lie stand. We'll see. It'll come out. Truth always comes out. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. It said Florida was at the game with Pilar. Yep. They called somebody to get the all clear. Now, I don't know how many people could tell them who in that house. I'm just saying. I called somebody for something before we use the signal jammer, and then I kicked the door in. I verified first. I called, we hear, and he was standing right by the door. Then they pointed to the signal jammer like, you go, and then they walked over and kicked the door in. I was either listening to a voicemail, which, I don't know why I need that. I already got the picture. But they were using their phones for lights in the house, so everybody got a phone. And that's how they caught the last crooks, and they in jail. So this is not that. So we're gonna see. One thing about it, they already got a geofence warrant. This happened what, a week ago? A week. The Sunday will be a week ago. They already got a geofence warrant. They already got one. What about the UCF game? Can't remember the number of rushing yards. Ooh, it was up there. It was up there. The TCU game was up there. I think, let me look. UCF game versus Colorado. Let me see how many yards. I even checked the Baylor game too. Shedeur was stacked 8 times and still put up numbers. UCF versus Colorado. What year was that? Last year? Was that 2024? They last year? Here we go. Let's see what it was. UCF. That was in 2024. Play-by-play box score team stats. Oh, I'm looking for player stats. Let's see. Shedeur had 290 passing yards. He was 28 of 35, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. Isaiah Agustave only had 4 carries, and he was the leading rusher. And Will Shepherd was the leading receiver with 99 yards. That's interesting. That's very interesting. 290 yards. So if Shedeur hit 300, Quinshon Junkins not gonna get much. And I'm gonna tell you how many yards Quinshon Junkins had. Let's see. What was the last game? What was another game? London. No, I don't think he had him. What was after London? Miami? Let's check Miami. Or the Jets. Let's check the Jets game. Jets versus Browns, right? Let's see the stats. Here we go. 28-27 was the score. Player stats. Dylan Gabriel was 17 of 32. That is hilarious. Y'all know that's my theory about them holding back black quarterbacks because of the majority is 17 to 32. Somebody came to the comments and said that to me. That's hilarious. 167 yards for Dylan, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, and he was sacked 6 times. Good grief. Quinshon Junkins, 22 carries for only 75 yards. So understand this. We talking about Quinshon rushing the ball, right? Who's the other guy? Dylan Sampson. He had 2 carries with a negative 4 yards. Jerome Ford was 1 carry for 1 yard. Malachi Corley, who's a tight end, number 83, was 2 carries for 32 yards. Oh, man. Jerry Jeudy, leading receiver with only 78 yards. Harold Fanning Jr. was second with 44 yards. Then Njoku with 21. Then Cedric Tillman. And Quinshon Junkins had 10 yards as a receiver with two passes. Yep. So these are the usual receivers right here. We'll look at this on game day. So there you go, guys. Quinshon Junkins, 75 yards plus another 10. So he didn't even hit 100. And they didn't use him heavily. And think about it. If Dylan got sacked 6 times, why didn't they just go to the run game with Quinshon Junkins? I mean, was it ineffective because he has so many carries, but only 75 yards? He was getting like 3.4 yards on average. That could happen in this game if the Raiders defense is like that. But they 2-8, so I don't know how they could be like that. But I'm going to have to study them probably tomorrow. Anybody watching Colorado tomorrow? I'm not going to be live because we're going to be live Sunday, but I'm going to be tapping in on the game and seeing what's going on. And I'm going to come back and talk about it after the game. The game is at 8. Oh, I think I'm going out tomorrow, so maybe not. Check Twitter or something, or I'll just leave some notes or something, and we'll talk about it on Sunday. All right, so I'm going to get out of here. Thank y'all so much for watching What She Said Sports. I really enjoy you guys. We have such a great, healthy community. Moderators, y'all own it. Tina, my ace, and Pat Davis, everybody, Nikki Soulfit that sent me things. Thank y'all so much. But go enjoy your weekend. We'll be back. 250 of us. Hit the like button. And we'll be back tomorrow. We'll be back tomorrow at some point. All right. Thanks for watching What She Said Sports. Have a good one. And I put a star by y'all's predictions so we could come back to it on Sunday. And look for the notification for the party, for the virtual hangout. I'm getting ready to make it, so probably in about the next hour or so, look for it. See y'all later.